This week, we're talking about some big changes with the PS5 controllers, plus Microsoft is making strides to improve xCloud and bring it to a new platform. So let's just go ahead, together, as a people, and check it out! And welcome to another sensational Sunday. I'm Mike and I am back to talk about the gaming news. Let's just hop right into it this week. So the big thing going around is Sony secretly made some changes to the PS5 controller. The new colors that just came out, that purple, blue, and pink one, they got some tricks hidden up their sleeves. So this was first discovered by a YouTuber, Tronics Fixed. He tore down the controllers according to this article, and he noticed that they actually reinforced the triggers with bigger springs because apparently that was an issue with people complaining about the triggers breaking. Personally, I haven't experienced that issue, but also I would say that me playing the PS5 kind of fell off of a cliff after like the first 6 months. And also I've always had two controllers because it was part of the bundle that I got. So I've always switched between the two. So I haven't really had any reliability issues with the controllers. Another complaint has been about the joystick drift, which again, I haven't personally ran into it, but that same YouTuber did notice that the underlying part of the joystick was redesigned. Now, we don't know if this is better or not, but with the triggers, it has a thicker spring, so you could assume that's probably better. So it's probably Sony addressing some of these issues, doing a controller revision. These are things that have typically always happened with systems. It's just now that we're more aware of these things, they pop up in stories over the internet. Whereas like back in the PS2 era and even to some extent the 360 and the PS3 era, they really weren't talked about as much unless it was a major revision like, the PS3 Slim or the Xbox 360 Slim when they came out with the smaller models. But like small revisions, like internal revisions to controllers and systems weren't really talked about. So yeah, this is probably one of those things where if you don't have an issue with your controller, you're probably fine. I wouldn't go out and buy a new one for it. Of course, if you are buying one now, then maybe you'll get this new version that won't have as many of these reliability issues with the triggers and possibly the thumbsticks. So yeah, that's pretty much the story. They've secretly revised the controllers probably to deal with some of those issues. I was planning on getting the purple one anyway, along with the purple covers. I just have been too lazy to order the cover, so I haven't bought the controller, but I might see if there's a difference once I get those versus the launch controllers. And speaking of launches, it didn't launch too well? xCloud on iOS. So Microsoft is actually working on improving the latency with xCloud on the iPhone specifically. So the reason this is important on iPhone specifically is because Apple won't allow streaming apps on the App Store. So the only way to do a streaming app is to make a web app. And I kind of speculated about this a little bit in my head when Microsoft first said that they were going to do a web app. I was wondering if there were going to be any limitations as far as what web apps can do versus a native app. And apparently one of the issues that they're running into was the latency. I tested it when it first dropped and I noticed that it was really bad. I've periodically gone back to it and it's a little bit better, but nowhere near as good as the experience that I had on Android, which of course those phones can run the app natively, so it makes a lot of sense. So they said that they lowered the latency on the iOS app. I haven't tested it yet to see. They didn't say by how much it was lower, how much of an improvement it was, but clearly this is probably still a work in progress. And with them having to work around Apple's restrictions, it really does suck. I wish Apple would just let them on the App Store already, along with other game streaming apps. Whatever their arbitrary reasons are stupid, to be honest. And I'm just kind of over it at this point. It was something I was really excited about. I mean, I bought a controller for it, actually. Yeah, I bought a Razer Kishi for it and everything. I was hyped. Spent $60 on this. I got a refurbished one. Spent $60 on this. For what? For latency? For garbage? You disappoint me. You disappoint me, Apple. Speaking of xCloud, in our final story today, Game Pass is finally coming to the Steam Deck, of course via xCloud. That's why I transitioned from that last story. So xCloud streaming can finally be done on the Steam Deck on its native Linux OS. So you have to download Microsoft's beta version of Edge in order to use it, but apparently it's playable through streaming. Of course, people like me included were hoping we would get a native experience on the Steam Deck, that maybe they would finally make a Game Pass app available for Linux, but that has not happened yet. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I don't know why I said it yet like that. It was going to happen. But I'm really hoping it does, especially with Microsoft's whole thing about wanting to get Game Pass on as many platforms as possible. I mean, cloud streaming is fine, but the native experience is still the native experience. It's still better. It's probably going to still be better for a long time. Even if it's just a little bit better, it's still going to be better, and I will still want to see a native experience on the Steam Deck. Of course, you can install Windows, but like we mentioned last week, there's a lot of drawbacks to it. So right now, it's just not really worth installing. However, if you're willing to pay a little bit more money, there are some Windows devices that can also do the same thing the Steam Deck does, essentially. And maybe next week, perhaps, I might be getting one of those devices in. So subscribe if you want to find out more about the Steam Deck alternative. But yeah, I do hopefully have a Steam Deck alternative coming that I ordered from eBay. Hopefully it's not like a box of rocks, because then that'd be embarrassing. Anyway, so yes, xCloud streaming, Steam Deck, yes. Native experience, no, still not there yet. All right, but that's all I got for you today. It was another short news week, but let me know what you think. Are you gonna go ahead and get the new PS5 controllers if you have a PS5 now? Have you ran into any of those issues with the controllers? Have you tried xCloud on iOS? And would you rather have xCloud streaming or a native xCloud experience on the Steam Deck? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm bringing this video to a conclusion, but if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification to get notified when I drop a video. And always do at least 2 things at the same time.